Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to present to you our next guest, which is Jay Majors. And I met Jay. Actually, I was eavesdropping on his interview with another podcast at Premiere Orlando, and I kind of just said hi. So, Jay, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Good. Good. Thanks for being
How's the
on the
weather
show.
where you are?
I'm in Florida, baby, and it is
Nice.
fantastic.
It was cold when I was in Miami last a couple weeks ago, so it was good.
Yeah, that was our winter.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's over. Now we're back to spring. It's great.
Nice.
So how are you? Thanks for being on the show.
You're welcome. And I'm good. I'm good. Just been
Good.
busy. The show's coming up, so I'm just, burning the candle on both ends per usual.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good. It's what we do. So tell everybody who you are in case nobody has heard of you before.
Oh man, this I'm a man of many jackets. Geez,
He is. You are.
nutshell, I know. I stumbled upon barbering about 25 years ago. It's kind of the last house on the block for me. I was in a lot of trouble as a youth, in and out of institutions. Due to it's not like I was one of them kids that like you had no choice. Like, I came from a good family. I just made some really poor decisions and got involved with the wrong crowd at a young age. And barbering, and I always say this because it's my story, has truly saved my life because my family was the type of person like if you do the crime, you do the time.
Hmm.
And I just had to like I had to fend for myself and I made pretend I was a barber in the beginning, and I should have went back to jail for the haircuts I was giving or under the jail. And I kind of just took liking to it, and I was able to express myself and earn income. And I was like, I'm gonna give this my all
Hmm.
because this is all I have. I'm not a good construction worker. I could barely hang a photo on the wall. I've had a mustache since I was 10 years old. I'm Portuguese, so I always know how to use a trimmer. And like basically, I just said like I'm gonna give this my all, and I haven't stopped ever since I said that.
That's amazing. All right, so we're pretty real and raw on this podcast. So
Yeah, that's all
so
you get with me. Sorry in advance, everyone. No.
no. We want it. We want it. So you were saying you were in a lot of trouble. What kind of trouble are we talking about?
I started smoking weed and like drinking alcohol at a very young age.
Hmm.
I was selling drugs, running with the gangs. Towards the end of my like career as a criminal, I would say.
Hmm.
Like a monkey can't sell bananas. I was, caught out on a lot of different drugs.
Yeah.
I've been now sober, a little clean in recovery now. Coming up this July, God willing, will be 21 years. So I just celebrated 20
Beautiful.
years clean.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just constantly get arrested, man, like DWIs, fights, possessions, sales of narcotics. I mean, you name it. And I never really wanted to change. I thought that was me the rest of my life. Like I'm gonna be
Hmm.
like this. I'm a thug. My homies are waiting for me when I get to jail. And I guess God had another plan for me.
Well, amen to that. Heck yeah, I love that. So what happened that you first of all decided to go that way, and then what happened that you just did an about face?
It really wasn't any like a ton of my friends were dying. Like they were getting shot, like my very close friends. Like everybody in my inner circle died. Like
Hmm.
I remember getting pulled over just a little off top, but a police officer came to my barber school when I first opened it and got a haircut. And he surprised me, a guy that arrested me, who I thought hated me. And he saw me on Facebook and he was so proud of me that I've changed my life. And he goes,
Yeah.
remember that day I pulled you over in East Hartford and there was you and three other guys in the car? Whatever happened to them guys? And I thought about it.
Uh-huh.
Not one of them is alive to this day.
Oh man.
Every one suicide, and two of them got murdered. And like by the grace of God, there goes I. Like that could have been me. Like so.
Hmm.
I say that by saying like it was a bunch of different things, and it was mainly people turning their back on me, like people that like I really cared for, I thought cared for me, which they did.
Hmm.
They were fed up with me, and I was just like, I have no choice but to do this. And I got a job in the education department in one of the prisons I was in.
Okay.
And the lady that ran that department was like, listen, you're like, you got all these guys looking amazing. They're coming from the dorm with these nice haircuts. Why don't we see if we could get you a Pell Grant to go to, back then was cosmetology school because there
Yeah.
was no barbering in Connecticut. And they're like, let's see if we can get you a Pell Grant to get your license upon release. And I went and filled out the application when I got out, and they approved me. And like, that's kind of where it started.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Okay, so then what happened? You just got like hooked onto the feeling and you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna put a barbershop now."
Well, like, no, so I was going to school
Okay.
and I was like literally doing good for like a couple months, like maybe like 90 days.
Hmm.
And then the old crew started coming around,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't say I relapsed because like I really wasn't in recovery. Like I was just like abstinent, and I was just
Right.
like, maybe have a beer here and there, and then,
Yeah.
and then I kind of like went off the deep end again, started getting in trouble, and I took a leave of absence from school.
Mm.
And then finally, around July, right after my brother's wedding, like I just kind of my brother got married, and they went on honeymoon. And I just went on like this long run, and I got on like had warrants out for me, and I turned myself into like my probation officer's like, we're gonna give you 5 years in prison unless you turn into a treatment facility.
Mm.
So I backed a stolen car into a treatment facility, and I went there,
Uh-huh.
and people weren't taking my calls no more. Like a week after I was there, starting a little like level headed, I called
Mm.
the school back and I was like, "Will you take me back? Because I've had a leave of absence." And they're like, "Yeah, you got to pay us like $600 to get back in, like for some of your late payments." And I did. And then like I didn't have any clippers left. My buddy gave me some clippers, and
Mm.
from there on in, I could say like that was the mark of like, okay, I'm gonna really take this serious. And
Hmm.
I've been clean ever since. I walked across that stage, and I ended up just building relationships with my clients to help me open my first shop.
I love that. That's really interesting because, I feel like we're really indoctrinated. Like you don't make friends with your clients. They're not
Yeah.
your client. They're a means to, pay your bills. But you just said I made connections with my clients and that's how I grew.
I think that's a new thing, right? Because like I you might not make I mean, honestly, I love some of my clients.
Yeah.
Like my plumber, my electrician, my contractor, my realtor was a
Yeah.
client. Like, I would get this guy in the chair and I didn't know shit about buying a house,
Yeah.
and I would be like, hey, I'm self-employed. How much should I be paying for taxes every year to get approved for my first home? And like these are the
Wow.
people that taught me how to be a man. Like my clients,
Yeah.
like so for people to say like don't build a relationship with your clients, you're pretty dumb because a lot of people want to do favors for their stylist or their barber. Point blank.
Yeah.
They bring you a
Yeah.
bottle, they bring you a gift certificate during the holidays, they'll buy you some. Hey, can you slide me in? When was the last time you seen someone do that for the person that bags your groceries at Winn Dixie or something? Like, hey, I bought
Hmm.
you a bottle. You always put my produce with my produce and put my meat. Like, they don't do that. Like, people do favors for their barber and stylist.
Yeah.
So those are the people that like literally this guy said, hey, I was cutting hair in a real bad neighborhood and he was well off. And he
Okay.
says, dude, I'm sick of coming here for a haircut. And he goes, I'm opening a strip mall in West Haven, Connecticut. Go pick a spot. I'm going to help you fit it up and I'm going to give you like 6 months rent free.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. That is from God. That is not from
Yeah.
anybody else. Like, what?
Mhm.
That's beautiful. Okay. Obviously, you took it.
Yeah. But I like made so many mistakes. Like,
Well, of course,
so
fail
this is my
forward.
thing. My mistakes turned into a blessing
Totally.
because I took like a 1,400 square foot shop
Uh-huh.
for a barber shop that's big.
Yeah.
But like if you build it, they will come.
Hmm.
Like I'd rather grow into a shop than grow out of a shop, and that's what I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, you live and learn, and now you know. And now you are like you're like a businessman, but like a businessman. Like, what are you
It-
doing now? Just so that everybody
so
can understand what I'm talking about.
so fast forward. So I opened a shop,
Hmm.
and there was three of us, but I had 8 stations at that time. But I could only afford 3 chairs. So
Okay.
the fourth barber I hired, I made him buy the chair and I took it out of his paycheck. I was like, you buy the chair and I'll pay you back for it if you want to start right away. If not, you have to wait till I save up for a chair. So he,
Okay.
so he bought his own chair and I got like a good deal on it. And he started cutting. And then I went from 4 chairs to 6 chairs to 8 chairs to 12 chairs. And then the business next door went out of business. I knocked it down and I opened a salon. So then I had a barbershop and a salon. And the salon was cool, but I'm a firm believer of like if three of my girls call in sick and I can't do a blow dry, a color, and like a roller set or whatever it was, a balayage, like I feel like an asshole sending you away.
Right.
So like to me, it was good. Like don't get me wrong, it was
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
Like I was just renting them space, but it was something that I couldn't manage very well because I wasn't a stylist. Like I'm licensed, but that's not my thing.
Right.
So I ended up teaming up with one of my old instructors, and she was getting a petition signed to separate barbering from cosmetology. And
Mm-hmm.
I opened one of the first barber schools next to my shop to hire licensed
Oh,
barbers.
that is so cool. Okay. So we
So
got a barber shop, we got a barber school.
correct, attached, and
Okay.
then I opened a second location
Okay.
for just a barber school with a barber shop, same motto.
Mm-hmm.
We had 22 chairs operating at that barber shop at once. It was crazy. We were so busy. We had all the college kids on lock. We're in a big college area. I mean, we literally do like 300-400 clients a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was, and I did a lot of retail. Then I opened my second location, which was Major League Barber Academy in East Haven, and I currently just remodeled it. We've been open there for 10 years, and I also opened my suites. I mean, but now my philosophy is I've been buying the building. So
Mm.
I buy the land. The real estate portion is kind of like the McDonald's thing I do. It's called Major Luxury Suites, which is MLS, like the MLS listing.
I love that. Yeah.
So yeah, so I buy the land, and that other spot that I had that guy blessed me with,
Yeah.
I ended up moving up the street and purchasing a building with apartments upstairs. So like my entire infrastructure
Totally changed.
revolves around barbering. It's all
Yeah.
around barbering. I get
Love it.
people licensed. I put them in the shop. From the shop, they go to the suites, and yeah. And then I don't know where we're going to transition to the Barber Expo, but that I like this podcast suck for me because I do so much.
What do you mean?
I
No,
feel
that's the
like
whole
I
point.
do so much.
I know, but that's the whole point. Like that's what
I know, but I like for those of you that are watching, I swear I'm not trying to flex. I'm just like I just
he's
don't
really not.
stop. All
No,
right.
but it's so great. No, that's exactly where I was going with next. So we have all these places where all the barbers can go,
Yeah.
and then you even exploded to have the Barber Expo of Connecticut,
The world. Yeah, it's the biggest
of
in the
the
world.
world. Oh, it's the world. This is
It's the
oh
world's largest.
man.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh my God.
No, it is.
Okay. So like
So
how do
that
you
happened by accident too.
that was by accident too? Oh my God, please share. Like these are all
So
beautiful,
okay,
happy
so I
accidents.
fast forward. I was talking about the shops, but
Yeah.
about 4 years in, 3 years into me opening my first shop, maybe four, I ended up getting all these college kids from Southern Connecticut State University.
Okay.
And these college kids had a couple kids that graduated that college that were the nightclub promoters at the local downtown New Haven was the
Uh-huh.
hot spot for all the Thursday night was college night.
Okay. That's
So
cool.
Wednesdays and Thursdays were really busy at our barber shop for college night.
Sure.
I was already sober. I didn't drink, but all my guys did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, let's get a bunch of major league like bomber jackets made, major league t-shirts.
Yeah.
The promoters are going to let us in for free, give us a section. There's 20 of us. And let's bring flyers and just post like tag all the cars in the club parking lot and promote in a nightclub. And the DJs, he'd shout us out because we were cutting the DJs here. We
Mm-hmm.
left flyers and stickers in all the bathrooms. And
Mm-hmm.
so what happened was like about 6 months later, the nightclub promoters were like dwindling down. They weren't doing real well.
Mm-hmm.
And the club owner comes up to me. He's got a haircut there now and goes, "Hey man, like you're bringing more people to my club than the promoters. Why don't you take a night? We'll let you keep the dollar. Like it's $10 to get in. You keep the door, we keep the bar, and you just split our expenses for the night." So I would do like major league Fridays and Saturdays, and I would take over nightclubs. And what happened with that is like I did because I was in recovery. I didn't really want to endorse the drink. I started feeling
Hmm.
like how am I promoting this? People are getting fucked up. Like
Yeah.
there was violence. Like people
Yeah.
were fighting. And
Hmm.
my attorney one day there was a stabbing in a nightclub and it wasn't on my watch. Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah, for
My
real.
attorney like was blowing me up at like 7 in the morning, and I'm like, oh shit, why is my attorney
You're
calling
like,
me?
oh no, what happened now?
Yeah. So he's like, Jay, dude, I know you're running the nightclubs. Please tell me that didn't happen on your watch. I'm like, no, 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 no. It's a whole nother club right up the street. He's like, dude, you have your barber shop and your barber schools all over these nightclubs and flyers. If someone dies or someone leaves there with a DWI and kills somebody, like you could be liable for that. Or the publicity you're going to get is going to be no bueno.
Right, right, right.
So I was like, you know what, you're right. And I was like bringing artists down at this time,
Mhm.
like to perform, and I was building relationships with rappers and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I was cutting celebrities at that point because of the nightclubs. I met them through the nightclubs, like the whole
Hmm.
Jersey Shore guys. We booked them,
Love it.
like yeah, when we all had them Guido haircuts. And
Yeah.
so in 2011, the end of 2010, uh, beginning of 2011, I was like, let's do a barber event in a nightclub, and everyone's gonna come with prejudged haircuts. We'll just judge them there, and we'll do like a runway, and it was
Nice.
cool. It was successful. So
Yeah.
then people were like, dude, I want to compete. I want to battle this guy. I want to. So I said, you know what? Then I rented another nightclub, and I was like, let's do your barber's favorite barber, and it was free for people to compete. It was $10 to get in, and I had like a little merch booth, and I didn't sell shit. I had one sponsor. He
You
gave
know,
us a trimmer and a banner,
all right.
and I did it, and I did one, and then 6 months later I did another one, and then I just kept doubling in size every year. And now next year we're going on 15 years, and I do
Wow.
Connecticut and Las Vegas. Yeah. It was
Connecticut
like
and
divine
Las Vegas.
intervention. Yeah, I do Las
Oh,
Vegas in September, and this year Connecticut's May 17th through 19th.
all right.
So
So you're doing all these things
mhm,
and I mean, you're not sleeping, right?
yeah, I
Okay.
mean I do. Yeah, I mean I sleep enough. Yeah, at
Okay.
least 5 6 hours. I'm good.
That's like, all right,
Some
that's
nights I
good.
get 7.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Okay, okay. But how else are you nourishing yourself through all these things that you're doing that are great?
So people, okay, don't get me wrong. I do like I am stressed at times, right? Because
Of
I'm a
course.
perfectionist and I'm very passionate.
Mm-hmm.
But from coming from homelessness, incarceration,
Mm-hmm.
addiction, losing people I love, to being flown to Ireland, Portugal, Spain, getting paid, eating at 5-star restaurants, staying in 5-star hotels, first class flights, like how can I complain? Like I
Right.
love what I do,
Mm-hmm.
but here's the kicker. Not only that, I'm also helping so many people. Like
Yeah.
I'm getting people licensed through my school. I have people starting their careers, launching at my show. I have people that launched at my show that are now multi-million. They've surpassed me. They're like
Wow.
multi-millionaires because they launched their brand at my show, and they tell me like, Jay, if it wasn't for you, like you changed my life. You changed the trajectory of my children's lives. Like you've helped me break this generational curse. So it's like, and like I'm not a big religious person,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I want to pinch myself. I'm looking out planes. Sometimes I'm like, how did you get here? Like,
Yeah.
because like I have trauma. You know what I
Of
mean?
course.
And trauma would tell you like you don't deserve this. You're just a kid from the streets, or everything you've done. And like when it really boils down to it, like this wasn't me. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can't. I just work every day. Like I got up early this morning. I went to the gym. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just work every day. Like somebody's gonna take it from me. Number one, and
Yeah.
number two, if I like move a muscle, change a thought. If I stay busy, I stay out of trouble. And
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. Like it's what I do for me is like when you're genuinely helping others and you're being able to like help people provide for their family, like I don't doesn't feel like work. Like I'm so blessed,
It
and
totally hits different. You're like,
it
oh,
does.
this is responsibility. This isn't, yeah, it's a blessing, but it's totally other level,
Yeah.
you
It
know?
really is. Yeah.
All
You're
right.
great
So
at interviewing, by the way.
thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So with all of this going on, what's the common misconception that people have about what you do?
You know, like, okay, so I have real bad ADD, right?
Nuh-uh, I don't
So
believe it.
when I'm working, I'm
Uh,
like in tunnel vision, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, for instance, if you come to visit me at my show and you fly from Florida
yeah.
and like, oh, I'm gonna take a quick picture with you, but like my microphone or my speakers just died on the main stage, or an
Right.
LED panel just went out, and I'm on my way to fix that LED panel because someone's in my walkie-talkie, like JJ, Mayday, Mayday, you know.
Yeah, right, right, right.
I walk by the person, and they're like, "What an asshole! I flew all the way here from like Australia. He couldn't even take a picture with me." But like, I have 13 other thousand people here at the show,
Yeah.
so the misconception I get is like that I'm an asshole because I got like that resting bitch face sometimes,
Whatever.
or like, but I'm really not. Like, if I like, if you catch me on my downtime, which is very rare, like I'm chill. Like, you know, like right now, I made time to be on this podcast. Cool,
Yeah.
but like a lot of people think like, oh my God, he was a jerk. Like he ignored me. No, like he's been up for 3 days. There's like a main stage here. There's a vendor complaining that the guy next to him is playing music too loud. Like I'm
Mm,
running a trade show. Like people don't
yeah.
understand the stress. So I kind of get that like, oh, he's an asshole. Or he's cocky, and I'm
Mm,
not. And I'm kind of zero tolerance because like a
yeah.
lot of people ask me dumb questions. You know,
Yeah.
they really do. Like
But they do. People are people, right? No matter if they're a client
I
or if they're like,
know.
it happens. It's gonna happen.
Like I'm running a show for 10,000 people and I get a barber from like Chicago, like, yo, where's the best pancakes in
You're
Connecticut?
like, you're like, look it
And
up.
I'm like, you can't Google it? Like, what would you do without me? Like, I don't know. It's just, and sometimes I get a little off the handle with that type of shit because it's just like, I don't know. Survival tactics. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
No, I feel like you're a man with a vision, right? And you don't have time, like you are focused, you're zoned in. And personally for me, that's why I was so like, oh my God, I gotta get Jay on the show. Like you're me personally, you're such an inspiration for me because I'm like,
Thank you.
I don't have to sleep. I can get all this done. Like, look at all the possibilities. And I feel like it's so important that other beauty and barber pros hear your story because you can do it. You can do it, guys, listening and watching.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel as if, and I said this in my story yesterday, tomorrow's a mystical land
Uh-huh.
that like we don't even know if it exists. You get what I'm saying? Like tomorrow,
Yeah,
tomorrow is not promised.
right.
So like when I hear people like, "Oh, I'll do it tomorrow," I'm like, "Why? You're doing nothing right now. Let's not do it today because you never know what shit's gonna hit the fan tomorrow." And
Yeah.
that's I've been a firm believer of like, "Yo, let's knock this out right now." You
Mm-hmm.
know, like let's get this over with. And I feel like procrastination, especially in our industry,
Mm-hmm.
in brands in our industry, like I'm sure you've seen it. I've seen people with a great idea, a great concept, great branding, a pomade that smells good, a hairspray that's amazing, just be like, "Oh, dude, I don't know. I didn't make 500,000 this year, so I just got a bunch stored in my garage," because they were like lazy to hit shows, they were lazy to network, and I don't know. I have people like another dude hit me up, and he's like, "It's in my bucket list to make it to CT before I die," and I'm like, "Where do you live?" He's like, "In Pennsylvania." I'm like, "It's a
Dude, you
3 hour
can,
drive."
yeah, like what are you talking about?
But like, it's my bucket list. But like, I seen you at the Eagles game the other day, and you probably spent $900 on a ticket, or you were tailgating three. Like, I just feel like people don't
Yeah.
prioritize their career properly.
Yeah.
Like, we're in a
Well,
beautiful industry. We get
yeah.
paid to be ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's so true. Oh my gosh, that was a good way of putting it. But see, like that's why you're a leader. Like I don't know how you feel about being called a leader, but you are a leader.
Yeah.
And
You know, the problem is though, I feel as if 20 years ago when I started, leading by example was cool. Like, I'm gonna watch what he does and I'm gonna do it.
mm,
Now it's just like, hey, how do you do it? How do you do it? Like, hey, can I pick
mm,
your brain? Hey, can I pick your brain? Hey, like, and I'm like, there's nothing to pick. Like, there's so many free mentors on YouTube. Like,
yeah.
it's just like, dude, get up, get out and do something. Like that
Yeah.
song. Like, just get off your ass. I don't know. I don't get it. It's just because
Okay, okay.
maybe I'm biased because everything I've been through, I'm just like, if I did it, why can't you? Like, I don't know.
Right. That there you go. There you go. It's right there. You just said it. So
Mm.
like everybody listening, like you have like no excuse, like for real. But with that, what is the biggest insult you've ever gotten that you're just so proud that you got it?
Insult?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm always getting like me and two other like me and Papito Bless Hands, who's another barber. Always, it's not an insult. They always think I'm him and he thinks he's me. I just go along with it now. I mean, the biggest insult I've probably gotten was like when I first brought my show. I hope they don't watch this to Mohegan Sun.
Okay.
So come to find out, one of the state troopers, who's a retired like police officer, is working with the tribal police in Mohegan Sun now. Like, there's a security gig.
Okay.
And once he saw my name, it was like red flags. They had all these meetings. They're like, "This dude's the real deal. Like, you're bringing these like." And meanwhile, he doesn't know. At this point, I've been sober, like, and clean and sober for 15 years. I've changed my life. I'm back in the same prisons I was incarcerated. Not only I was the Department of Corrections spokesperson last
Uh-huh.
year.
Wow,
Like,
how
yeah,
cool.
I was like their poster boy for like, recidivism. And
Yeah.
now I go back into the prisons and motivational speak and help get the barbers licensed while they're incarcerated. I've helped them with some curriculums and whatnot. I've helped get some people hired to train them. And but I think the biggest disrespect is like people not believing that you could change. Like, once an addict,
Mm.
always an addict. Once a dealer, always a dealer. Once a felon, always
Mm-mm.
a felon.
Mm-mm.
I've been stereotyped. Even like when I first opened my shop for 7 years, they would go through my garbage. The feds would follow me around. Like, it was
Mm.
bad. And like, when you get accused of something and you're not guilty, like,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, it does.
And for people to belittle and downplay what I do, like, if I was like El Chapo, I wouldn't be working 90 hours a week. Like, I
Right.
would be sitting in my ranch with a walkie-talkie. Like, I bust my ass. So
Yeah.
it's to me that sucks. And that's how people are, though. They're like,
Yeah.
well, if he has this and he has that, he's got to be doing something shady because they're stuck at their day to day 9 to 5. And I'm not knocking people that work a 9 to 5, but like I said, we all got the same 24 hours.
All
It's
right.
what you
So
choose to do with it.
So that is exactly the point, right? So like I read a book. I don't remember the name of the book, but it was from a guy who what's his name? Michael Francis, right? He was in the mafia.
I
He
remember
made it
Michael.
out. And he wrote this book and I always remember this line and it was like if you had a gun held to your head every single time you made a move, you would get a lot of stuff done because you don't want to die.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like you're getting all this stuff done, not because you have a gun to your head, but because you're like, you're savoring every minute of every day.
That too. And like, I feel as if building an empire, when you're building an empire, you don't know you're doing it, right? You're doing it like
Mm,
brick by brick. You're building a house brick by brick.
right.
It's maintaining it, which
Mm,
is the hard part. You get what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because like the more money, more problems.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just like the stress. I feel like everyone's one bad decision away from losing everything, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Like, if someone has a few too many drinks and like kills someone in a DWI, or like like road rage incident, like, you see it happen all the time.
Yeah.
So I keep that in the back of my mind. And listen, like, I'm just trying to like take care of my families and my boys and their generation and next generation,
Yeah.
and hopefully instill a good work ethic in them. Like, I don't want to just leave my kids something. Like, they got to earn it.
Right. Right. So, okay. So that leads us to that. So, like, you've done all this stuff and, like, how do you, like, what's the plan? Like, not that you're going to retire anytime soon, but
Yeah.
like, you got to think about that, right? Or do you?
Yeah, so that's why I buy all the real estate.
Okay.
That's my retirement plan. I do, I am a consultant for Babylist, and I'm the community director for Squire Technology. So I do, get paycheck. Thank God I get benefits from them and
Mhm.
401ks. But a lot of people in this industry don't have retirements. A lot of, like,
Mm-mm.
you see that old man Barber with
Yeah.
scoliosis at 93 with a little lunchbox. He's not
Yeah.
there because he wants to be. There's two reasons he's there. Number one, he wants to get away from his wife every day and talk with the fellas.
Yeah.
And number two, because we're social butterflies as Barber. And number two, he probably didn't. He's been living check to check or safe.
Yeah.
So like I always say, and people might get offended, like you really don't own a barbershop or salon. You just own the name and
Mm,
the belonging. When you own
yeah.
the real estate, a slumlord can't come because I've noticed, especially as barbers, we'll get like this slick thinking landlord, and they're like, "Wow, this guy's making money." You know what I mean? Counting your
Mm,
pockets. Like when his
hmm.
lease is up, we're going way up. And what's he gonna do? Because this shop is booming. He doesn't want to leave. So
Right.
I believe in buying the property, buying the land, and if shit hits the fan, you could always sell it. You're probably
Mm,
going to have equity because, the way the real estate market is climbing. Like right now, you're in Florida. They're saying the market's starting to go down. So like now would be the time to buy in Florida for
yeah.
someone like if I was in that area,
Come on down. We're open. No. But all right. So like what's some advice? I mean this whole podcast is one big advice thing, but when it comes to real estate, when it comes to salon owners, what would you tell them? Like they're buying their first building.
Well, like first and foremost, you know, starting to build like business credit, starting to build your credit, like barbers and stylists pay your taxes. Like straight up.
Yeah.
Like I went to go
Yeah.
buy my first house and they laughed at me. They're like, because I like shoebox money when I was a kid. Like, you know what I mean? Like I went
Yeah.
and you think you're getting over, but you're only getting over on yourself. So like people think a good credit score counts nowadays. That shit, you could have an 800. If your debt to income ratio and you're not depositing money in a bank, you ain't getting approved for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, like if you're just coming up into this industry, pay your taxes. Unfortunately, as much as I hate it, cutting that big ass check. Uncle Sam's never swept my barbershop. He's
Nope.
never changed the toilet paper roll. And I pay stupid amount of money in taxes. But pay your taxes because I could pretty much get approved for anything nowadays, And
Mm-hmm.
so like that's what I recommend. I also recommend, term life insurance. You never know what's gonna happen.
Okay.
There's nothing worse than seeing someone in our industry with a GoFundMe. And I'm like,
Oh.
you got a Mercedes, you got this posh salon, you're always in like Bahamas, and you broke your femur and you have a GoFundMe. That's embarrassing for your
Oh, that
brand.
hurts.
Have you
Yeah.
seen it?
I have seen.
Barbers die all the time, sad to say, or get into an accident, and they can't even afford their hospital bills.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
It's that I've heard and seen like stylists and barbers, they'll just have a heart attack right there on the floor. It's that. It's also, I don't know if you've seen this, but it's like a trend that has me so freaking nervous that these people are just driving into the front of the salon. They're
Why
just
salons only? Nail
I don't
salon?
I
I don't. Yeah, 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 yeah,
I don't know. Like I tell my staff, you know what? Everybody just park in front. It's totally
yeah,
fine. We're gonna preserve the place.
yeah.
But those two things. So yeah, life insurance. That's good. I like it.
Yeah, life insurance. I mean, listen, we have like if you look up the barber or cosmetologist, especially the barber,
Okay.
statistically on the .gov website or whatever, like federal
Yeah.
tax, we supposedly make 25 to 45,000 a year.
Uh-huh.
We all know that shit ain't true. I mean, well, yeah, we make 35,000 a year. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But they're wondering why they judge us like you're just a dumb stylist, you're just a dumb barber
mm-hmm.
because like we're in this supposed tax bracket.
Right.
But like, is cash really king? I think COVID really had people like with SBA loans, like they started digging into our businesses
Mm-hmm.
and even pizza restaurants and salons and these cash businesses. And they're starting to be like, oh, okay, that's why they hired all these IRS people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know, man. Like my biggest piece of advice is like you gotta save for the future. I would recommend buying up as much real estate as you can. I've never met too many, unless you're really poor at buying. But
Mm-hmm.
I believe in diversifying my funds through real estate. That's my
Exactly.
thing.
I love it. Who are your three most influential people in your life?
Hmm. Um, I mean, people. Okay. well, Jesus really isn't a person, but God got to
He's
come first.
totally a person.
Yeah, he is. He
Absolutely.
was he was in the flesh. I mean, I don't want to be fake because like I'm not perfect,
Right.
I mean, who wouldn't want to be like Jesus? And then you know what? It depends on how I'm feeling, right?
Okay.
Like I would hate to give three people that much credit because it depends on what I'm on. Like I'll listen to the dude Andy Elliott. I don't know
Okay.
if you can check him out. He's good with podcasts. I'll listen to another guy named Andy Frisella,
Okay.
so you can check him out. And it all depends on what I'm on. Like if I'm on some spiritual kick, like dude, I need some something, some woosah. I listen to a pastor Stephen Furtick. He has a podcast.
Okay.
Uh, it all depends on like what I'm in the mood for.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have like no superheroes. It all depends on how I'm feeling. I
That's
feel like I can
cool.
identify with everybody, even an idiot. I can identify a little bit,
Okay.
and I think that's what's being like having a diversified stock, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like I can take advice from what not to do from some guys, and that's the beauty about like this world now with the internet. Like we see so much
Mhm.
stuff we could learn from and hopefully absorb, take what
But,
we
y-
want,
but
leave the rest.
I'm really happy that you're talking about that because at least for me, like you know how you meet those people and let's like the one person they're just obsessed about horses. Like they
Yeah, yeah,
just live, breathe, eat, everything is about
yeah.
horses. And for me
Hmm.
personally and hearing you, like I can't just give myself to one thing like that. Like I have so many different
Yeah.
passions and things that I want to do and experience and all that stuff. So it's like, what? Yeah, diversify everything.
I just think you have to pivot, right? Like I
Okay.
think what's might have working like so for instance when Instagram algorithms got messed up, like we had to
Oh,
learn to go from post to reels to carno like carousels to I can't keep up with it, but we have to pivot. Like
yeah.
from going from to the shop owner to not being behind the chair anymore to a club promoter to an event coordinator to like I've done so many different things, but I'm blessed to say it all revolves around my relationships from the barbershop.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything started with that chair.
That's so beautiful. That's
Yeah,
so
so
beautiful.
it really did. Like every relationship I've built, everything I've learned from the club promoter to the real estate guy to the rappers that I've met, like every relationship started behind that chair. So I believe like people don't understand the power. Like so when I see someone cutting hair with headphones, they don't even know who's in their chair sometimes. Like they don't know how complex that person could be.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right. So now,
You can learn a lot from your clients.
what?
You can learn a lot from your clients. Am I right
Oh
or wrong?
yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Absolutely. Well, they're people too, right? Like the
Yeah.
student and the teacher, you can learn from each other. So like what's a lesson that you have learned being in this industry that you wish everybody, like from the mailman to the rapper to the club promoter, what's the lesson that you've learned that you wish these other people who are not in the industry that they would just get?
So I'll give some advice, but sometimes like I don't take. I try my hardest to take this advice.
Okay.
Like you have to be thick-skinned. And I saw a saying the other day that says you could feed a dog for 3 days and he'll remember you for 3 years, and
Wow.
you could feed a man for 3 days. You could feed a man for 3 years, and the second you stop, he'll forget about you in 3 days.
Ooh, that hurts.
But
That hurts, but that's really powerful. Okay.
how many people? I mean, I've thrown baby showers for like for for excuse me, like yeah, I've thrown baby showers for a barber that had a disabled child, like as his firstborn, and like raised money and all this stuff. And the dude just like left me like high and dry and did like and badmouthed me after the fact because I feel as if people have to badmouth you to make their side of the road look good.
Oh,
And
sure.
I know where I stand with that person. But
Yeah.
I think the biggest lesson I've learned from everyone is that you they say business never personal, but business is always personal.
Hmm.
You have to learn how to like shut that switch off. So
Yeah.
like what used to bother me for months is just like, oh, it happened again. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I know my intention. See, a lot of people come around someone like me because they think they're going to be me just by working for me, but not
Mm-hmm.
putting in the hours. They think
Mm.
they're gonna get the crumbs that fall off the table and build the pie or build the cake. And at the end of the day, I match people's energy. So like if you were to start working for me and you would like give me your all and you're sincerely trying, I'm going to try mentoring you to the best of my ability and
Right.
teaching you how I live and showing you how I live because you're giving me your all. But if you
Mm-hmm.
think that you're just going to live underneath the umbrella, you're going to live underneath the brand and it's just going to be smooth sailing and you're going to get thrown all these opportunities, I can't because I can't put you in front of a company if you're not showing up for yourself, if you're
Right.
renting a chair or you're self-employed, if you're not showing up for yourself, how can I expect to co-sign you and have you show up for another brand?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't even show up for themselves nowadays.
Mm-mm.
They're
You-
complaining about the rain. They have an umbrella. They don't use it. Oh, the shop's slow. When was the last time you posted a haircut?
Thank you.
Like, oh, you don't promote this place. Dude, I'm a household name. You just need to come here and do a little bit of promoting, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I really worry about the future because like these kids come out of school and want to charge $50 for a men's haircut. They can barely blend. They take an hour and a half. And I don't know, like the customer service is really lacking.
Yeah. I'm listening to you and you're talking about this, but you also have kids.
Yeah.
So is this something that you teach them too?
I try. Like, both of my kids are two like polar opposites.
Okay.
They're both great. They're both great kids. Like one thing I can tell you is my kids' teachers don't like me much because when I go to parent teacher conference, they're like, well, they got to worry about their grades. And I'm like, what are you teaching them? I'm like, this world is ran on C students, honey. I was like, do they disrespect you? Do they swear in your class? Do
Yeah.
they overspeak you? Are they respectful? Are they gentlemen? Yeah, they are. Okay, well, I'm not. If they're respectful and they're good and they don't they're not wise asses and they're like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm so sorry to say. I mean, I don't want them to get F's or D's. I don't care what they score in history or whatever these classes are. I really don't.
It's so
Because
funny. I love it so much.
no, I mean I don't like they look at me like they're crazy, but like I'd rather have a respectful young man in a society where people have they're not gentlemen, they don't open doors for people, they don't say God bless you, they don't say thank you,
Mhm.
they don't say please, they're entitled.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a gentleman than a scholar.
Yeah. Oh, I like it.
Straight up.
Yeah. Do they ever come to the shop with you?
Oh yeah. My oldest son just left. He signed up for my school. So he's in
Oh,
school. My youngest is probably gonna surpass me in a couple of years. He's like a hustler's hustler. They come to my show every year. They work the
okay.
booth. They sell clothes. They do they're part of the family. But I feel like they're such alpha males that they don't want to follow in my footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
So they realize like, why would I not? So
Right.
they kind of want to do their own thing, and I don't want to crush their dreams. My son's only going to barber school. He's going to college next year,
Hmm.
but I only have him going there just to go there. You just to have a
Okay.
license.
Yeah,
Get what
to
I'm
get some
saying?
kind of like certification, some kind of skill.
Something.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
like I
smart.
want them to do what they want to do, and if I'm always going to be here for them as long as they do the right thing.
I love it. I love that. Okay, so time is kind of going by pretty fast. What do you have going on right now that people can be involved? We have the Connecticut show, we got the school, but what else can you offer the listeners like if they want to
Yeah,
talk to you or, you know, touch the hem of your garment? Like
stop it. I really recommend that the Connecticut Barber Expo is coming. When people see Barber Expo, they think this is just for barbers.
Yeah.
It's for anyone. Stylists.
Okay.
There's tattoo artists there. We have fashion brands. We have tax specialists there. We have insurance providers there.
Mm,
We were speaking about possibly getting a collective health insurance for barbers and stylists. So I've been working with
cool.
them. I can't say their name yet
It's okay.
because we're in the final. I signed NDAs, but I'm possibly working with one of the biggest insurance providers in the world to get group rates. So if we all could come in together and put like $29 a month or something of that nature, the more people that sign up, the cheaper our group rates are going to be.
Cool.
And it's going to, so like I'm working with that. So if you guys are there, like it's a great time. We do the Barber Grammys, which is like a star-studded event on Saturday night. Yes, it's pretty sick. And I did
That's
that by
cool.
accident, and that grew like
I
wildfire.
love it.
So yeah, we give out awards like Humanitarian of the Year, Positive Influencer. There's a difference between being an influencer and a positive influencer. Are you helping others? Are you impacting your
Mm,
community? I believe that's what we are. The barbers are supposed to be the backbone of their communities.
I love
And yeah,
that.
just
No,
I
that's
want to
something
support
to
my shows.
aspire to. Yeah.
Yeah, Connecticut and Las Vegas, ctbarberexpo.com. There's my shameless plug. Come out, let me
Good.
know. And yeah, I don't know. Like all the only like to nut like this thing in a whole nutshell is like we have this when you get that license, whether you're a licensed cosmetologist,
Hmm.
licensed barber, licensed esthetician,
Hmm.
it's a piece of paper, right? And they're gonna say a
Hmm.
different state,
Hmm.
wherever you're from.
Hmm.
It's your choice where you choose to hang it. Point blank.
Hmm.
You could hang it at Cost Cutters, no offense. You could hang
Hmm.
it at Walmart, or you could hang it at Saks or Neiman,
Yeah.
or you could hang it at a union. You could be cutting movie stars or whatever. Like the sky is the limit when it comes to this industry, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that people are really overthink this shit. Like
Yeah.
get to work early, leave late, have a clean station and a smile on your face, and just be a good human, and like everything will fall into place. And I
Yeah.
think they're just trying to recreate the wheel. Like, I don't know.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. It's actually much simpler than what everybody is hustling about. Like just relax, be you and do great work. Like that's it.
We like there's nothing worse than a fraud in this industry, like or like a wannabe, like trying to like why is he copying what he does, or why is he copying him like Philip Wolf did? Like why like that's the same like why does his videos look the same? Like be yourself, you know,
Yeah.
and I love your originality, and that,
Thanks.
I'm just me, man. Like I've always been that way
Well,
since
there's
I've
only
been
there's only one you. There's never going to be another, And like that's the cool part. But you got
all
to
of
be
us.
happy. You got to be happy with you. But okay, so here's the other thing. Now, what we're coming to the end of the episode. So, what is one question I did not ask you that you wish I did, and how would you have answered?
Man, you're killing me with these questions. Hmm. I don't know, man. Can you give me like a lifeline? Like, what did someone else ask? Tell me what someone else asked.
Like anything. Some people talk about like, oh, I wish you would have asked me about my dog or like
Oh my
my
God.
relationships or like whatever. Like it could be anything, personal,
Yeah.
professional. I mean, we covered a lot of ground.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like I don't know. That's you got me stuck on this one. I don't want to ruin the
Okay.
whole podcast for it.
No, you're totally not. Okay, do you like what do you like to do for fun?
For for the shows.
Okay, 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 okay. Besides
No,
making
okay,
money.
okay, okay. No, check
Besides
it out.
making
Beach. I love the ocean. Like that's the
Oh,
only time I could turn off. And I like deep sea fishing whenever I can go. But when I do, like me and my family go to Aruba a lot. We
okay.
love Aruba. Usually after the show, I'll try shutting off my phone for a couple days after the show. After all the wreckage is gone, like 2, 3 days after the show, we're on the
Yeah.
plane. We're in Aruba. The phone's in the hotel room, and I'm just got my feet in the sand. That's my only time I could turn off when the birds are chirping and the waves are hitting the sand. That is my escape. It always has been, and I think it always will be. So that is my goal. I'm going for dual citizenship in Portugal. My family's from Portugal, so I'm eventually. I probably, if you didn't ask me anything, that's what I probably want to do. Is when
Yeah.
it's an empty nest. Me and my wife just moved to Portugal and like eat Portuguese food all the time. And
That is so beautiful. So they're from Portugal. Like you have family, like do you have family there?
from the Azores, yeah, from the Azores.
Oh, and the Azores, how gorgeous.
Yeah. So
Gorgeous. I love it.
yeah, I like get a decent house there. Maybe that's like my end game. When you say what's your end game,
Yeah.
live off the real estate, the passive income. If we hit another spike, I think it's going to go down and up again. And when
Yeah.
that next spike comes, I'm probably going to be in. Got if I make it to 60 or whatever, and then I'll just start selling off some stuff, you know, and just
I like
live.
it. Well, Jay, thank you for coming on the Beauty Pro podcast. I was so excited. I was like, no, 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 nobody talk to me. I am talking to Jay today. Like, this is great. Like, I really was. I was so excited because you are so inspiring, and your story needs to be shared. Like, people need to know that because they do get caught up in all the stupid stuff. And it's like, hold on, rewind and learn. Like, listen and learn. So, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And you did a great, one of the best interviews I've ever had. I love the questions and all that good stuff. So keep doing you. Where can we see this?
Okay,
So
so
like you can do a little plug, a reel for my followers where they can.
yes. So listen, so on if you guys are listening and watching, you can get in contact with Jay with through the Connecticut Barber Show. Everything is going to be in the show notes, all the links. Follow him and yeah. Thank you for listening. Until next time, you guys.